Welcome to Reach the World ASAP. That's what it's all about, getting this beautiful gospel to the whole world as quickly as possible so we can see Jesus return. My name is Pastor Scott Griswold, and I'm eager to share more about ASAP Ministries' recent trip to Myanmar, or as some know it, Burma. Last week, I shared an overview of the evangelistic meetings of the medical and dental clinic. If you watched it, you got to see a very fun mission trip. But I saved a major part of our experience so it could be its own special podcast, all about the 30 wonderful church planters and medical missionaries that ASAP supports in Myanmar. They came in from all over to help us with the big meetings there in Taungoo City. Before we arrived, they had a health expo, taught lots about good, healthy living, and gave lots of massages. Kalutu Paul is so good at massage and such a hard worker. He just goes at it all day long caring for the people, and so do many of them. The whole group went out visiting. They got interest ready to come to the meetings. So when we got there, they jumped in to help befriend all the people coming to the medical and dental clinics and the 10-night evangelistic meetings. It was so fun to work together. We couldn't speak much in common, but we could smile and laugh and grab translators to help us communicate. This especially got to happen during individual interviews. Mark and Joynine, Dr. Ken, and others sat down with each of the 30 workers to hear their stories and be able to pray for them and encourage them. We do this every year because their work is so tough, and we want to keep them strong for God and also for you to be able to hear their stories. Well, these 30 workers are trying to take the gospel to places that were previously unreached in Myanmar. Seventh-day Adventist Church has been growing here for more than 100 years with close to 30,000 members. But there are around 150 distinct people groups, tribes, or dialects in this country, and many of them, at least 49 of them, have no significant Christian presence. That's why, for the last 7 years, ASAP Ministries has been partnering with church leaders to send new workers into new areas. So some of these people we got to meet up with are off in the Rakhine State, way over near Bangladesh. They're on the coast. May is reviving a church that was dying out and also trying to reach out to the Buddhists in that area. Two of the workers, Aitun and Tantun, desperately needed boats to reach people, especially during the rainy season. So we told you about it, and ASAP donors bought them, and we got to see the pictures of them using them and hearing about how it has helped them so much to reach out to those people they couldn't otherwise. Tantun really feels his need because it's tough out there, and he said, "I'm always remembering Isaiah 57:15. For thus says the high and lofty one who inhabits eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in the high and holy place with him that is of a contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble and revive the heart of the contrite ones." Beautiful to see them quote scripture and to just be leaning on the Lord. Naong is another one in that area too, but he works with another tribe, the Meru. It's fascinating, difficult work. Whole stories we'll have to share another time. But the majority of the workers, they're over in East Shan State, closer towards Thailand. It's the center of opium growing and trafficking. Various tribes live there also. The Lahu, the Akha, the Wa. Our workers like Gucha have to learn new languages. His kids dress up like the tribe they're working for, even though they come from a different tribe. Mint Tue is helping people with their addictions. He helps widows whose husbands have died because of opium. He's teaching children who otherwise would start using opium. Wow, that's just amazing. And then Sashwe, he goes throughout the jungle to 8 different groups that have about 9 to 15 members each. He's not just preaching, he's really caring, coming close and helping them. He mentioned how recently one woman, she'd just given birth and she kept bleeding and bleeding. So church members came and called him, "You got to do something." So he took her into the hospital. They told him if he'd come just a little later, she would have died. And then there's Brother Lo, 75 years old and still going strong, doesn't want to quit. He's in an area where almost everybody's carrying a gun. Scary place. 2 new families were converted this year. He was so excited to tell us about that. Then Win Lin. It's not easy for me to learn these names. I worked hard on it. He shared how tough it is when members still love to eat pork and smoke opium. How would you work with that? I know I'm going on and on about the challenges they're facing, but I was just so impressed as I talked with them and heard and we prayed together. It's fun when you get to go back a couple of years in a row and see the changes. Chet and Dasu, they were just married within this last year, and both are still wanting to share the gospel, working hard with the Animists. They also often go to the Protestant school and church and share our special truths for the end of time. We were excited to see that a little one is on the way to join them in their missionary team. There's lots of ladies in this group too. Some of the medical missionaries are near Yangon, helping with a health center, reaching out in various ways using natural remedies and healthy lifestyle. Another girl is working among Buddhists in the Irrawaddy district, way down by the Delta. Ethereal, or Idi, is small but mighty. She's just begun and it's tough because she's all alone. So is Titi So. She's out with just Buddhists. She reads the story of Job just to keep her faith strong. When you're the only one of your faith in an entire town, it's not easy. There she is in a big house, all alone. One night, a drug addict came and asked for money. She was cautious but friendly and actually went to visit him with his family at his house. She shared the love of God. She talked about how to stop using drugs, and the man's mother started coming to church. She's hoping the druggie will too. At least he's not asking for money for drugs anymore, and she feels safer. But that's what it's like for these precious workers. Some of them living in dangerous situations. Some of them planting for several years now among tribes. Others are brand new, like the young man who right after the meetings headed for his first ever visit of the village where he will church plant for the next few years. I'll be praying for him. How about you? They all need our prayers. They all need that courage that God alone can give. Few of the workers live close by to where we did the meetings, so we went to visit Philip's 2 villages where he has interests. Several of the men were amputees, soldiers who had stepped on landmines. One had a terrible sore on his stub, where it usually meets the prosthetic device. He was hurting too bad he couldn't even put it on, so we brought him down to the doctor who bandaged it up well. Later, I got to see Philip's joy as some of his interests were baptized on that Sabbath. Every day, we took time to give some training to these 30 workers. Different members of our team, the foreign team, shared with them. And I love to watch the workers' eyes and see tears flow or smiles come as a message touched their hearts. I knew one girl was quite discouraged, and a specific message about not letting church politics pull your eyes off of Jesus was just what she needed. We talked a lot together, how to reach out to Buddhists and animists, how to answer questions that were raised, how to encourage church members to be strong. I especially enjoyed lifting up the cross of Christ again as the answer to the heart cries of both members and interests. And I found that several of the workers were effectively using the Disciples of Jesus and the Cross of Christ curriculum. That's the one we taught the year before. And these simple lessons with picture books, they have the potential to empower new members to not only be faithful, but to become witnesses for Christ themselves. It was working. One lady told how a recent convert from Buddhism is now teaching others using the same lessons. As we took time to listen to their stories and gather prayer requests, we were glad to be able to hear and help specific problems that they are facing. One had a $2,000 debt because her daughter had the dangerous cerebral malaria. He had to take her clear to Thailand to get treatment, and she's doing okay now, but without medical insurance, the father was absolutely stressed. It's like almost 2 years' salary for him. But ASAP helps with these things, and so he went home relieved. We had some fun times together too. It's always special to get to eat together. Every time these workers got in line, they seemed pretty excited. They were enjoying rice and more rice. Yes, of course, lots of yummy things on top too, but always rice. And they really enjoyed getting the watches that our director, Julio Carey, had gotten as a thank you to them. We spread them all out on a table, and they got to choose the one they liked best. They sang and sang. Oh, you have to hear them sing. They really put their hearts into it. Isn't that beautiful? Don't you wish you could understand? Here's a courageous missionary trying to join them. Way to go, Mark. Well, at the end of the week, they talked about what they had gained through our experience together, and they prayed for each other. They discussed things that they hope to do differently and more courageously when they return to their mission trips. When we meet like this and the Spirit of God moves, it gives me great confidence that God is going to finish his work soon. Discipleship, true conversion, the Spirit of God, and mighty prayer. This is what we need. Won't you seek that too? We have study guides at our website, asapministries.org, to help you in that process. And if you want to fund a training program like this, that is so needed. We really spend quite a bit each year to do it, and we can see how worth it is. Well, as we finished and took a picture of everybody, I thought about what they were headed off to do: to reach people who are bound by spirits and false beliefs, to lead them to actually sacrifice their old ways and take up Christ's ways, to be baptized, and then to remain faithful as family members and neighbors try to pull them away and difficulties hit, to become disciples that lead others to Christ and go to every corner of Myanmar. What a task. This is our prayer, our determined effort. They are going. Our encouragement and our prayers are going with them. Please pray. Please keep supporting them. We are together in this. Together, let's reach the world ASAP.